A perfect 3-0 sweep yesterday here. Not only cashing in with my 15-dime best bet with the Rockets rolling easily over Minnesota, but a 2-0 sweep on the video report yesterday, giving you double-digit blowout wins on the Cavaliers over Memphis, and Rhode Island getting the job done over Dayton. I've got 3 more complimentary plays coming up here on today's video report in college hoops, but also I'm once again in the position to raise the bar. The 23rd Raise the Bar 20-dime college basketball release in the 15-plus years since I created these websites. It goes tonight, 7 o'clock Eastern Time tip-off. Old Dominion at Western Kentucky. I've had 3 of these plays so far this season. I have won them all. 2 Saturdays ago. Or actually it was, 2 Saturdays ago, Loyola of Chicago getting the job done at Indiana State. Then 2 Tuesdays ago, it was Nebraska over Maryland. And then, of course, last Saturday, Middle Tennessee State over Louisiana Tech. And coming into today's card, I've won 23 of the last 35 days. And, of course, this play is bigger than the 15-dime releases, of which I'm on a 13-7 run following last night's winner on the Rockets, and Tuesday's winner on, or Monday's winner on Cleveland State, getting the cover at Wright State, and last Sunday's winner with Loyola of Chicago, getting the job done over Evansville. This play is bigger than them and bigger than my 15-dime winner on the Eagles in the Super Bowl. But, of course, let's put this in perspective. If you've been along with me for this run over the past 5 weeks, what this raise the bar play means is that I'm telling you, just like what I'm doing, I'm raising the bar, increasing the amount of my investment on this play. As you know, I have a very tight rating system, 5, 10, 15 dimes, because I've always believed let's have a tight rating system so you know exactly how I feel about a play. This is not a play I'm telling you to not make the mortgage payment on. This is not a play that I'm telling you to forsake putting food on the table. I'm not telling you to go cash in the 401k plan. I'm just telling you that if you've been along for the ride, well, we are playing with somebody else's money. And I'm telling you, I've already gone 3-0 with these plays. I've had a nice 5-week run, and it's time to put a little more down. If you're new to the table, well, then you've got to play within your own bankroll allocation system. You've got to play according to your own money management system because, again, the golden rule of gambling is really simple. Never bet more than you can afford to lose, and you'll never find yourself into a deep financial abyss from which there is no escape. It really is that simple. So anyway, that's what I've got going today. You can get all the other plays from all the other handicappers on all the discounts. As I continue to prove to you, you don't have to spend big money to make big money. They're all over on the homepage because just like all the other 20-dime raise the bar plays that I've hit the past 3 weeks, this play is available as the half price play of the day simply by using coupon code RAISE, R-A-I-S-E. The other 3 were half price. This one is as well by using that coupon code. With that being said, let's get to your complimentary plays. And the first one, I'm going to go with Villanova and lay the 7.5 points with the Wildcats at Creighton today. Listen, Villanova has absolutely owned this series. They've won 8 straight in the series, including the first meeting this season. They've won those 8 consecutive games by an average margin of 15.5 points. 7 of those 8 wins have been by double-digit margins, including the first go-round, as I told you, at Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia, by a 98-78 score. And why I really like Villanova in this spot here today is that the Wildcats are going to have Phil Booth back in the lineup. Actually, they got him back in the lineup in the last game in which they beat DePaul at home 93-62 just the other night. Phil Booth had been their starting guard. He suffered a hand injury, and it really robbed them their depth. Now that he's back, they've got their full complement of players, and this wasn't a real deep team to begin with. So I think that helps Villanova tremendously. The other thing that Villanova's gotten their mojo back, shall we say, is their accuracy from the three-point line. You know, when they hit that little rough spot where they lost in a 3-game stretch to St. John's and to Providence. They shot under 30% from beyond the arc in both of those losses to the Storm and to the Friars. But then they, remember, went to Xavier. Everybody thought the Musketeers were going to finally beat them, and they didn't at the Cintas Center in Cincinnati. Villanova won that game 95-79. They shot 60.3% overall in that game, and they had 16 for 34 from three-point land. Then they come home and they beat the Ball 93-62, and they shot 59.6% and hit 10 for 23 from three-point land. This Villanova team is just an outstanding team shooting the three ball. And when they beat Creighton at home February 1st, they hit a school record 19 three-pointers in that game. Now, the Blue Jays are coming off a 23-point loss at Butler. That was their third consecutive conference loss. They lost their prior home game last Saturday at Marquette 90-86. And 2 Saturdays they lost at home to Xavier 72-71. I just got to go with Villanova in this spot, and I've got to lay the 7.5 points. You know, Creighton's top scorer, Marcus Foster, is in a little bit of a scoring slump right now. 12, and 13 points in his last 3 games, shooting at a 35% clip in them. Only 5 for 16 on three-pointers in that 3-game stretch. Remember, this is a guy that on the season is averaging 19.8 points. On the season, hitting at a 49.5% clip from the field. On the season, hitting 44.1% of his three-pointers. They're going to be draped on him like a glove today. This is a pretty cheap price for Villanova, so I like them in this spot. Your next complimentary play, I'm going to go with the Drake Bulldogs playing at home today. It has been one hell of a season for a Bulldogs team that has done nothing for years. Nothing was expected of them this year, but they have really had a nice season. I'm going to lay the 5 points with them in their home finale today. Yeah, they're coming off an 89-81 loss at Illinois State, but the Redbirds were 6-2 at home in conference play this season, so I'm not too alarmed with this one. Meanwhile, Drake is 6-2 at home in conference play. They lost at Valparaiso in the first go-round, January 10th, 77-60. But now the Crusaders are on the road. They're 0-8 on the Horizon League Highway. 0-8. 2-5, Missouri Valley Conference Highway. And 2-5-1 against the spread in those games as well. They're 2-12 in true road games this season. Drake, and I spoke mistakenly earlier, Drake is 9-2 in true home games this season. And when you look at the RBI between these two teams, you know, Drake, 138, Valpo, 189. And Valpo has shown you this year, everybody thought that they would have an easy time stepping up from the Horizon League, where they had been a dominant player over the years coming up the Missouri Valley. And it has not been that way. They don't have the depth, and they're kind of smallish, and they've really been hurt in terms of on the boards this season. So I like Drake here to finish off a very surprising season, very strong in this spot. And now the final play. I'm going to go with Wichita State. They're at SMU. Now, when Wichita State hosted SMU earlier this year, I put the kibosh on their 27-game home winning streak by backing them as a free selection. So I feel it's only fair that I back the Shockers here today in revenge at SMU. But listen, this is a great play here, I think. It was one of my favorite plays. It was one of 3 plays that I really considered today as my 20 dime selection. Ultimately, I chose to go with the Old Dominion Western Kentucky game that goes at 7 o'clock. But this was among the top 3 plays I looked at on the card today. The other game being the Villanova game against Creighton that I just spoke about. This line is 8. Now, Wichita State, you know, inconsistent at times this year, okay? And look at what just happened to them. A lot of people are down on Wichita State because of how they struggled against Tulane the other night. I'm not surprised. It was a typical letdown situation after that big road win at Cincinnati last Sunday. And they were without one of their top players as well. But This is a game that they're going to be laser focused on because SMU did come into Wichita and beat them and end that 27-game winning streak at home earlier this season. But keep in mind, how did they win that game? Because Shake Milton scored a career-high 33 points, had 5 assists and 3 rebounds, shooting 11 for 14 from the field in 40 minutes in that game. And Jerry Foster, who at the time was the second leading scorer for SMU, also started that game, got hurt, played only 5 minutes. Well, Foster subsequently is gone for the season, long since gone, because of a season-ending injury. Meanwhile, Milton has missed the last 6 games and probably will miss the rest of the season because of a broken hand. It appears now to be broken. This is not the same SMU team. It's not the same team. Wichita State should cruise easily. Should. Thought they would win the first game too, right? With a 27-game home winning streak. But listen, the bottom line is this. The Mustangs are coming off a 77-58 win at East Carolina that snapped the 5-game losing streak. But East Carolina sucks. That's the bottom line. SMU, the game prior, scored 37 points and shot 25% from the field in a 15-point loss at Central Florida. In the previous 5 losses before beating East Carolina, they had averaged 56 points a game. That's 17.5 points fewer than they had scored in the first 22 games of the season. Why did they score so few in that 5-game stretch? Because Shake Milton, their leading scorer, missed all those games. You were without his 18 points, his 5 rebounds, his 4.5 assists a game. Again, he's not going to be in that lineup today. I got to go with Wichita State in the biggest of all revenge games for the Shockers. This is a team that went to Cincinnati. Well, okay, the game was played in Highland Heights, Kentucky, the home of the Northern Kentucky Norse. That's where Cincinnati's playing their home games this season, if you didn't realize it. But they took care of business against a good Bearcats team this past Sunday. I like them on the road in this game. I think they're highly motivated today. I think they have a strong defensive effort after playing no defense and giving up 86 points and barely getting by Tulane the other night. And I think they get the job done. So if I had to rank the 3 plays, I would take Wichita State as number 1, Villanova as number 2, Drake as number 3. That's my story. I'm sticking to it, and I'll talk to you again tomorrow. I wish you well, guys, and we'll do it again. Good luck.